This marks the end of an era.
In the heart of the Mongol Empire, under the vast dominion of the great Khan Möngke, a new destiny was forged.
The Great Offensive.
The Abbasid Caliphate, 500-year reign.
Welcome, seekers of history, to the chronicles of ages past. Suez.
The symbol, representing the spirit of the warrior.
By the will of eternal heaven, I accept your loyal devotion.
The legacy, a fire that burns in my blood. The two-front mandate. The two-front mandate.
The first arrow surges deep into China, consuming the territory of the Song dynasty.
Hulagu Khan was about to fulfill his destiny.
Among the earliest and most comprehensive world histories, the Jami' al-Tawarikh provides a panoramic view of culture.
Our first target, a clandestine sect, master of shadows.
Target 2, the Abbasid Caliphate. The strategic vectors from the Mongol starting position are clear, targeting both the Nizari Ismailis in their mountain strongholds.
Dismissed. Objective. Total demolition. Total demolition.
In the shadows of Alamut, danger always lurks.
Here, in the heart of Baghdad, the Abbasid Caliph, surrounded by the wisdom of ages, embodied the pinnacle.
The Middle East is ours. The horde assembles.
His army was unlike any other, a force forged in a crucible of ambition and unyielding will. Historical estimates suggest that over 20% of imperial forces were gathered here.
Victory is ours! A vast, moving city of war. 150,000+ warriors.
This disciplined army advances, its siege engines and heavy cavalry forming a formidable, organized force.
Mongol head cavalry. Turkish auxiliaries.
The Georgian knights, our vengeful allies.
1,000 Chinese siege engineers direct the assembly of a massive trebuchet.
A combined arms doctrine. This is not a battle to be won. Their purpose was not merely conquest, but a final, horrifying erasure. The Alborz Mountains. Persia.
Deep within the treacherous peaks of the Alborz Mountains lies a fortress whispered in legend. They moved like ghosts in the shadows, their blades unseen until the
masters
final
of
moment.
asymmetric warfare.
These mountain strongholds were not merely castles, but the very embodiment of defiance, built to be impregnable. The conventional mind sees an obstacle, the strategic mind sees a weakness. For centuries, this was the accepted wisdom, the conventional approach, the direct assault.
As the Mongol horde advanced, their siegecraft was not merely an act of war, but an industrial enterprise.
Step 1. Encirclement.
Step 1. Encirclement.
In an age of empires, the force of innovation was wielded with deliberate might.
The assault continues without pause.
We can't hold them!
It's falling apart.
We're lost.
Surrender.
November
1256.
The last bastion has fallen, and with it, the resistance crumbles entirely. Our victory is complete.
Thus
Nizari
fell
Ismaili
Alamut.
state was no more.
Now, the jewel of the Caliphate.
City of Peace. City of Peace.
The mission was clear, absolute, and inevitable.
The weight of empires, borne on the wind of a single decree, now approaches the defiant walls of Baghdad.
The scroll bore tidings of war.
The mighty river turns to dust and blows away in the wind. The mountains crack and crumble into pieces. Caliph Al-Musta'sim, surrounded by unparalleled opulence, remained oblivious to the forces gathering beyond his gilded palace. Baghdad believed support
Their
would flow,
paltry forces
but
will
it was
flock
nothing
to
but
my
a delusion.
banner.
The Caliph's shield of intellect and wisdom, he believed, would protect his city from any threat. Analysis. Leadership failure. They knew the Mongols were coming, but they did not grasp the true scale of the storm about to break. The very heavens unleash their fury, and the thunder of Tengri now strikes down upon Baghdad.
I am telling you, the earth is not flat.
My friend, you are sorely mistaken. For centuries, this beacon of knowledge illuminated the world. But even the brightest flames can be extinguished. At its height,
This is a truly
Baghdad's
remarkable
House of
discovery.
Wisdom boasted the
Indeed,
largest collection of
the
books in the
implications
world,
are profound.
a truly unparalleled center of learning. The Caliphate, once the beacon of the Islamic world, now lay in ruins, a testament to the fragility of empires. On the left, a small force of 20,000. On the right, a massive army of 150,000 or more. The Sunni and Shia divide meant the Caliph's calls for aid were ignored by his neighbors. The Caliph's strategy was one of passive defense, a gamble on walls that would ultimately prove a flawed security.
Doctrine. Fluid offense.
It's a strategy that has kept them undefeated for decades. The Mongol army, a formidable force, now divides, initiating the first phase of our strategic deployment.
The right wing, commanded by General Baiju Noyan, sweeps west of Baghdad.
The flanking maneuver
Objective.
serves a singular
Isolate
purpose.
the city.
The northern column is advancing, the western flanks holding, and the eastern division is now in position.
The main thrust of the attack was the Hulagu force, moving with powerful and deliberate speed directly towards the eastern walls of the city.
January 1258.
January 1258.
Begins.
The siege begins.
Now, Baghdad falls. The Mongol horde did not medley attack. They engulfed. The unsung architects of conquest. Their precision turned the tide of battle.
A formidable defense, the siege works began with the excavation of a deep ditch, swiftly followed by the erection of a towering wooden palisade.
Day one, a relentless tide of destruction.
A siege involves more than just physical attacks.
Analysis.
The psychological toll can be just as
Psychological
devastating.
warfare.
The siege engines hammered at the walls, their relentless blows a drumbeat of doom against the city's ancient stone.
The will to fight had been shattered, and with it, the great city. Their final sortie, a desperate gamble against insurmountable odds.
The trap was sprung!
A ruthless, decisive stroke, turning the very ground into a weapon.
The Abbasids, trapped and helpless in the mud, became easy targets for the disciplined ranks of Mongol horse archers. The news reached the Caliph, bringing with it the weight of his army's annihilation, rendering all his luxury meaningless.
The Caliph, defeated, finally offers a desperate plea for surrender.
This subjugation, this public march, will be etched into the annals of history, a warning to all who dare defy the Khan.
Order the garrison to surrender. You have your orders. There was no mercy.
February 13, 1258. A day of immense sorrow. Baghdad, once the heart of the Islam.
We stand at the precipice! It was not merely a conquest, but an...
For centuries, Baghdad stood as a beacon of knowledge. Now, its glorious...
It was here that the light of knowledge began to dim.
A treasure of knowledge, now lost to the flames. Its wisdom scattered to the currents of time. The Tigris River ran black with the ink of countless destroyed books, a testament to a cultural cataclysm. Baghdad, a city of unparalleled learning and cultural brilliance, saw its grand mosque, its noble...
A final, brutal, cultural death sentence.
The Caliph Al-Musta'sim, defeated and humiliated, was dragged before Hulagu Khan, marking the final act of his reign. The Mongol horde would often use a ceremonial rug for executions, particularly for those of noble birth.
The Caliph's last breath rolled into the desert's embrace.
The Abbasid Caliphate, a beacon of Islamic civilization for over 5 centuries, met its tragic end in 1258 AD.
And so, with the city fallen, a new shadow began to stretch across the ancient lands.
The horde advances, a relentless tide against the world.
The next phase of conquest would be easy.
My Khan, Monkey Khan, we have dire news.
1259. The Great Khan is dead.
Protocol.
The disappearance of the Great Khan immediately triggered a critical
The
political
cruel time.
protocol. Hulagu, conqueror of the West, felt the pull of the East, a throne waiting, a destiny unfulfilled.
Turn the army around!
Hulagu made a fateful military decision and took the bulk of his army with him.
Analysis.
The vast Mongol Empire, a glowing network with the Great Khan at its core, was
Systemic
inherently
vulnerability.
vulnerable. As one empire's fate reached its end, a new dawn broke, unforeseen and full of promise.
From Cairo, a new power rose.
Forward!
From
Advance!
slaves to kings,
Attack!
they
Fight!
forged an empire through blood and iron. Ain Jalut,
The vast
spring
plain,
of Goliath,
once silent,
Imukan,
now bore
September
witness to
3,
the greatest armies of their
1260.
age. The Battle of Ain Jalut was more than a victory.
The tide
It marked the definitive end of Mongol
Turns.
expansion.